Hi, so my latest video on YouTube has been taken down by YouTube. Here are the guidelines. I'm just putting them up for you all to know some of the things that YouTube is not allowing. So I have edited this video to take out anything that YouTube is not happy about. But you can find the complete video on Rumble. My link is in the box below. And you can also find the information on my blog because I had posted some very important links. So those will be on my blog, and stay tuned to the edited video, or just go ahead and go watch it on Rumble. It's still up on Rumble. All right. God bless you, and thanks for tuning in. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. I welcome you and am blessed that the Lord leads you to my channel and to my podcast. Just thank you so much for tuning in. The Lord is sharing more and more thoughts with me about hiding, how He's hiding, and He's hiding from the wise, and about the secrets of the Lord. The secrets are with those that fear Him. It's the Lord that reveals secrets. The Lord does nothing without revealing His secrets to the prophets. And so I'm calling this video and podcast The Invisible Door, Guarding the Invisible Door. Thinking about Psalm 84, that I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord than to dwell in the tents of the wicked. So more and more as we're in these end times, and it's so much different than the mainstream Christian thought, the whole like raptured and then 7 years of tribulation that's supposed to be somehow to cleanse Israel. And, if you watch my videos, those of us who've helped put these together have, a very different viewpoint. How subtle the end times are, how much in control the Lord is. Have to say that whole Left Behind series and the whole mainstream Christian eschatology left me with so much fear of the Antichrist. And instead of now knowing how the Lord is coming, knowing how He covenanted with us at the beginning of the last 7, knowing how we are even in this time of tribulation, these last 3.5 years, which I believe started around the end of March 2021. If that's so, the fear of the Lord is all I have, and also just the amazing presence of the Lord. I had this cloud appear recently where I live. It was so beautiful. It was like this cloud that had a presence. And it reminded me of like the cloud that the children of Israel might have followed. And I was thinking of Dana Coverstone's dream. He had a dream about a cloud and people following the cloud to the middle of the United States. So those who are in the United States, I'm still encouraging you to move to safer areas if you still have time. Not that that is everything. It's if the Lord leads you to do that. He led me to do that, but His safe zone is in Him. So the more I know of how He is possibly navigating these end times, the more faith I have, and I'm so excited to be with Him. And it's just that whole Left Behind series made the Antichrist too big, and it made our God too small. So I also want to talk a little bit about the shadow picture of the last 7 years being like the week of the crucifixion. So if we're in the last 3.5 years, like if we were in the week of the crucifixion, then Jesus has already died on the cross. Why have you forsaken me? I'm finished, and He's now in the tomb. And I've been thinking a lot about what was going on when He was in the tomb, because we don't know. Was He in hell, navigating the souls that, might be there before He died? Was He in heaven? already? Was he invisibly walking around? Like, we really don't know a lot about the tomb. But I was thinking about the disciples. So, the disciples and the Marys and those that followed him, they were, confused, bewildered. They stayed close to the tomb. I know, the Marys, Mary Magdalene and the mother, they visited the tomb. They stayed close to the tomb. And so I was thinking these last 3.5 years that we're in, we have to kind of get in this idea of the tomb and the door kind of that it made, that it was unattractive. So it's not an attractive door. Standing by the tomb and the stone was not attractive. It was not cool. They were scared. Their king left, I think at this time, especially those of us who really feel we are in that very last time, we might feel persecuted. We might feel ridiculed that maybe what we've said isn't true. But I was thinking of the attractiveness of the guarding the invisible door. So we have an invisible God, we have an invisible door, and it's a door to heaven. And it's when we're waiting right now while he is hiding. So when he was in the tomb, he hid. I've talked about this time that we're hid in the chambers. We're supposed to be like Isaiah 26:20, hide, my people, hide in the chambers until my indignation be overpassed. So as he's moving to judge the earth and judge the wicked and disclose the bloodshed, we're to remain hidden in him, hidden in the chamber. And I was thinking just how unattractive that is to the world. So we're, guarding the tomb or standing by the tomb and waiting for the Lord, waiting for him this time not to rise from the grave and rise from the tomb, but we're waiting for him to come in the clouds and call us up. So it's a really beautiful time, but it's kind of so much different than what we thought maybe the end times would look like, that I was thinking how, so we're sharing in his death, we're sharing in his desire right now to hide. So yesterday I had a really cool experience, because I've been really going through a lot of trials and it's been really hard. And I was just like, where are you, Lord? Like, I just, because 1 minute in his presence is all I need to keep going, or one word. And I was out in my backyard, and the Lord came and sat with me, and there was a chair across from me, and I felt him sitting there, and I could feel his presence. And it was like he was sitting in the garden with me. And it was so amazing, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. He just sat with me, and, I could just feel his presence and his peace. And he said to me again, I'm hiding from the wise. And my last word in my last video was about the oil. Those that have the oil, the virgins that have wanted the oil, we will be getting more of the oil. But the ones that haven't wanted that, or the Lord has hidden the wisdom from the wise and delivered it to the babes. So those that think they're wise and they think they have it all figured out, they're not going to be experiencing him and feeling him. And I was saying how who knows what all kinds of weird thoughts are going to come out. So it was really special, and I was really honored to have the Lord with me, because like I've said before, I'm a big sinner. I'm nothing special. But I also felt the wise. So I'm really talking about the ones who are wise in their own eyes, because we know true wisdom is, we want true wisdom. But the ones that the Lord calls, wise in their own eyes, they will persecute those like us who are foolish, and we are hearing from him because we're babes. So there will be persecution. there is going to be, an exorbitant amount of persecution. I'm trying to stay out of that numbering system. So if you watch my video about the mark is here. So the new Happy Passport in Israel, so they were the ones that introduced the green passport, which is the mark. It's the green mark. So in Hebrew, it's the mark. So the mark is here. Many countries have now adopted their own passport, which is the mark. So the mark is here. We're in the time of the Antichrist. We're in the time of the beast system, and the beast system is permeating, like a goo. It's like everywhere. Like I was just in a city that I like, a small city, but I literally could feel the beast system just permeating and starting to take over. So we want to be out in the wilderness. We want to be in rural areas. If we are in a city or a populated place, we want to stay separate. We want to stay detached. And we don't get the passport, which is the mark. And we're not in the numbering system, the IBM numbering system, that eventually they'll connect and then they'll figure out how to put it in your forehead or your arm. So those of us who staying out of that from the beginning, I do think that is an ark and a safe place. And it is going to be a fight so the new happy mark, it's called basically in Israel, it's the mark of the joyous. So that is then official for, going to events and going to restaurants and everything. And all the countries now are adopting it. Not all of them, but the ones who are adopting the mark are all adapting it and adopting it. Like in France, it was super strict, but they had a lot of pushback from the people. So then in Italy, they had some pushback. And so there's, the U.S., we're saying we're not doing the passport, but we know it's grievous to me because I have warned people. I've been warning people since before 2017, before the Revelation sign, the Revelation 12 sign. And, I have Christian friends who are just not listening and they're not heeding the warnings. And it just means to me that they possibly are not hearing from him. And, it's sad because I don't know what that'll mean. Are they going to be more trapped in the beast system? They've outwardly rejected the information that I'm providing, that the passport is the mark. And it is called the mark in Hebrew. So it's just not contradicted. It just is. And it came at the timing when we thought we were going to be crossing over to that last 3.5 years. But it means giving up things like travel, entertainment, restaurants, and giving up the world. So the other words that came to me recently were about the it's in Jeremiah where it talks about the crane knows the way, like the bird knows their times, but my people do not know the judgments of the Lord. So, again, those of us who've been following and trying to listen, we're trying to be prepared for hard times, but many people are not, and they're just ready to jump back into the world, and it makes me sad. That place I was where I felt the beast system, I have seen like a spider web and also a fly trap. So, you just have to, like last time I was in California, I felt the tsunami wave coming, the big earthquake. You got to pay attention so you can try to be in as safe a zone as possible, and then you can provide for others. That's been like my goal from, last couple years. Australia right now, they're having like a huge lockdown in Sydney. Like 900,000 people are commanded to stay in their neighborhoods. So the lockdown in Sydney is pretty militant, I guess, and you can't talk to people in the markets and things like that. Some other stuff I've been thinking about is the secrets again of the Lord. So what's going on? So we don't know what went on in that tomb time. We don't know a lot about that. And I personally have just been seeking the Lord, and I feel like sometimes he wants to say something, but it's so far out of my thinking that I can't hear it. I encourage you to just try to when you're alone with him, you try to get all that mainstream idea out of your head, and the Left Behind series for sure. That's one thing I want to talk about, that it still bothers me, just because I do feel like, I am a true shepherd. But so mainstream eschatology got so ingrained in our society, and then it was perpetuated by the Left Behind series. And I have a great video on that if you want to share it with your friends, you want to listen to it, because even people that have rapture dreams say, oh, I was hearing a trumpet, and all the scriptures except for one of the rapture scriptures says it's a last trumpet. It's the trumpet. The last trumpet sounds, and I believe it'll be around the Feast of Trumpets, and it'll be the great harvest, and the trumpet will sound and we go up. But Matthew 24 is very clear that it's immediately after the tribulation. So it's just that when mainstream eschatology decided that it was a 7-year period of tribulation rather than a 3.5-year period, and then it made the Antichrist too powerful, and the Left Behind series, the ideology behind that had to get us out of here before that. So it's basically like the tribulation is going to be too awful that the Lord can't protect us and take care of us and help us during that time. So what the things I hate about it are, I hate every false way, and I don't like arrogance. I hate arrogance. I don't believe the Lord dwells with arrogance. And if you think that you're going to immediately be taken out of a time of tribulation, not the wrath of God, which happens after the tribulation, when the bowls are poured out and the wrath of God is poured out. The tribulation is not the wrath of God. We're promised tribulation. So what still bothers me to this day is the arrogancy that you won't have to go through something hard. And I feel that the part of being a believer is the Lord has to test our hearts. He has to test our hearts if we're willing to go through martyrdom, if we're willing to go through persecution. I know for me, my relationship with the Lord is a daily walk with him. My whole life is a daily walk with him, and I have had to recommit my life over and over with the understanding that I may be persecuted, and I have been persecuted, and I may be martyred. I don't know if I'm called to be a martyr. I don't really think I am, but I may be. Am I willing to do that? So part of it is, are we, the Christians who, when China went through its communist takeover, the Christians suffered with that. When Hitler took over, the Christians there suffered with that. In Russia, the Christians suffered with that. And in America, we have Disneyland Christianity, and we have the prosperity doctrine, which, if you can be so ingrained in that you are serving another God. So I'm not saying I don't want the rapture to happen. I'm not saying we may be raptured away or taken aside. I'm just saying the scripture is really clear that it's immediately after the tribulation, and my research shows there's not 2 raptures. So I still don't like the arrogancy of that. I don't know how the Lord will deal with it. I'm thinking those that are so ingrained in that, just like they're so ingrained in the last 7 years and how it's going to go down, I'm thinking, well, maybe as things get worse, they'll be like, oh, wow, we're really going through some hard times, and maybe they can examine their heart then. But I like to examine my heart. I want to follow a real Jesus who really went to the cross and who really called all of his disciples to be martyred, and the whole foundation of the first church was laid in the blood of the martyrs. So when I talk about an invisible door, we also are worshiping in an invisible house. And one time I had a vision of the true church, and the true church was so cool. The vision of the true church is um, it's like an invisible structure that is in another dimension, and it is made up of the flaming martyrs. Like literally, the pillars of the church were the martyrs of the Lord, and they're forming the pillars of that structure. And then we're all in that structure. All the living stones are in that invisible structure, and it's so cool, and it's so different from, of course, the structures that we see on earth. And I have having gone to different churches and always been zealous for the Lord, it's always been apparent that, of course, the Lord is not in a particular building. Now, the Catholic Church, I was warning people to get out of the Catholic Church for some time, but that, prophetically, we're going to keep seeing that being cleaned out and come down. And you really do want to come out of the Catholic Church, since we know the Pope is one of the horns of the false prophet. And the Grand Imam of Dubai is one of the other horns. So, if you think you have to go up out of here before we enter into harder times, then your God is not big enough. And he dwells with the humble. Latter Rain, I like her, Latter Rain 33, I like her channel, and she had a dream about buying a condo, and that was where she was going to go. And then she realized it was going to be other Christians going, and then she realized the door to the condo was just this little secret door that you had to get into. So, somebody asked me, who I care about, well, what's actually happening? And, well, there's so much happening. The false prophet is in place, their ideology is being formed, and the mark is in place, and the signs, the great sign has happened of the Revelation 12, and I believe the dragon sign happened. You can watch my video on that. But a lot of it is, and then so another person asked me, how do I prepare, and I'm like, it's like a secret place with a secret door with an invisible God. It's all about your heart. So it's just prepare your heart, and then try to listen, try to obey him. If he's saying I want you to get some supplies, or I want you to move, it's really about an invisible walk with a visible God. And then he's not going to be in the world system anymore. I mean, he's obviously in control of it, but you can't find his presence there. So like yesterday when I felt his presence in the garden, it was so beautiful, because it's been hard for me. I like to travel. I like activities. I like to do stuff. And I've been called to a remote place, and but in that remote place I felt the presence of the Lord, and he said, I'm hiding. I'm literally hiding. But those of us who are in that hidden place with him, because he talks a lot about that in the scriptures, about in the time of trouble he will hide you in his pavilion, he'll hide you in the secret of his presence. I suffered a lot of persecution, and most of my persecution was from the church. So I learned a lot about those verses, about him hiding me and keeping me, and it was really, really, really so valuable now, because just verses will come to mind, and I'm like, wow, I'm like hidden in him. So we want to be in the secret place with the hidden God. We want to be by the tomb, sharing in his death, sharing in the way he wants to come, if he wants to come like that. We want to be close to the tomb, so that when the stone rolls away, and that will be the second coming, when he comes in the clouds, I really think that even till the very end, it's still not going to be obvious to most everyone, because wide is the door that leads to destruction and narrow is the way to life eternal. And it's grievous because all of us want, that Left Behind series kind of awesome. All this stuff's happening and people are, getting saved, but that may not happen. People may be just marrying and giving in marriage, and there's certain world events that only the believers are going to know. I do hope there's some time of not chaos, but I guess my gut feeling was things are going to get ugly. They will get uglier. Now, if we have 3 years left, maybe only 6 months of those are really ugly, but maybe that's the time when a lot of these lukewarm Christians will get under the blood and actually get home with him. I don't know. I really don't know. I also know he'll shorten the days, so I already feel worn out. We're not even the worst of it yet. But anyway, stand strong, stand in the power of his might, choose to not get in the system, choose not to get vaccinated, choose to stay separate, stay apart. The Lord will hide you. He will protect you. He will cover you in the shadow of his wings. You have set your love on him, and he will be with you. His El Shaddai presence, his covering, his great love, the secrets of the Lord will be with you as you fear him. The more you detach from the world, the more he's going to give you, the more he's going to help you, the more he's going to get you through this. And I also pray for those who are being persecuted. I am as well, by well-meaning people who want me to get vaccinated or whatever. I pray for you. I pray that you'll have a shield about you. I pray that as you speak your mind, your peace, your word, that it'll have a ripple effect. I pray that the Lord will hide you in his tabernacle, and I just give you courage and strength and his love. And I praise the Lord for also right now strengthening the underground church, strengthening the underground believers. I'm thankful I have people tuning into my podcast from different countries in the world, and it encourages me that the underground church is alive and well. And also, as you see, major players shifted right now. So there's major world leaders that are going to shift, and God is shifting them because He has the laugh, Psalm 2. He has the nations in derision, and He has is laughing, and He is going to lift up kings and take them down. Also, he's going to take down false prophets. He's going to continue to take down false prophets. So I know there's been a major one recently in Africa. So you need to just get more and more into him and his lordship and his shepherdship, because the nations are going to rage. But be still and know that he is God. So take care under his wings, brothers and sisters, and I can't wait to know you. We have the cloud of witnesses that have gone before us, so we lay aside our sins and weights, and they're cheering us on. I've had 2 experiences where the Lord allowed the cloud of witnesses to come down around me and I could see them, and it was so not this world. So everything in this world looked dead, and the kingdom of God was alive, like is alive. Like I could see Moses and Elijah and the witnesses. And so we have the witnesses cheering us on. We have the martyrs that have gone before us cheering us on. So let's have courage. Let's have courage and follow a real Jesus and not a concocted Jesus that gives us all this prosperity and protects us from suffering, because he is a suffering Messiah until he's a reigning Messiah. So God bless you. Thanks for tuning in, and pray for me as I pray for you, that we'll all have his strength and his love surrounding us, and we'll feel closer together. The underground church will feel closer together than ever before as we face these ensuing years of great persecution. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon, God willing.
The temple of my Messiah, the new Jerusalem of God. I can hear the music of 100 strong, a melody throughout the earth. I can plant a garden with the help of one, hear the song of new birth. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, where there is doubt, where there is despair, where there is darkness, light, where there is sadness, joy. To be consoled, as console one another, to be understood, as you understand, to love, as love is given that you receive. It is